It truly does bear reiterating that every Pokémon that exists has someone that thinks of them as their favorite. There are, as of the writing of this video, 1,028 of the little buggers out there, and that number will only continue to swell. And yet, even with so many, as the internet continues to prove, every last one has a fan. 1,028 seems like a lot, but given that the series is going to be celebrating its 30th anniversary this year, in some sick way, I'm surprised that there aren't even more. Part of this is due to the last generation introducing over 100 new monsters, a number not seen since the pseudo-refresh of the series in 2010's Black and White. The number introduced will continue to ebb and flow, the constant expectation of new discovery requiring it. Each creature must not be so unique that it stands at odds with the pantheon that came before it, but it also must keep up with an increasing desire for cleverness. Ushered out fresh from their eggs, each one must be weighed on fickle scales, hegemony with the pre-established being demanded on one side, while novelty without garishness being demanded on the other. Or at the very least, those are the names I can give to my expectations for each new set of Pokémon. While it isn't the object of the video today to say what makes a design bad, my love for Pokémon demands I take a somewhat critical eye. I want to know what the criteria is that both we and their designers have for what constitutes a good design. Luckily, verbose little audience that you are, most of you have provided some insights alongside the names of your favorite Pokémon. These have been a treat to read. This has always been a pastime of mine. I've spent many a days scrolling through the insidious Bogleech's committed catalog of insightful critique and praise for every single Pokémon design. I'll include a link to their website below. It has served as an invaluable resource in helping me articulate my feelings on these things, even if our opinions sometimes diverge. As with the video that this one is a sequel to, I want the contents here to first serve as a thank you to my many supporters. Your names are top billed for that reason. While new, big-eyed cartoon babies are the lifeblood of Pokémon, your engagement and support is the lifeblood of this channel. In the months between my big projects, I always find myself itching to stitch together some kind of video and script. And I'm humbled to have the privilege of a core audience that has always engaged. None of these side projects have been as fun as these past two. Your picks are all beyond reproach. As evidenced by your taste in YouTube videos, your taste in Pokémon is exquisite. I was a bit worried. You all submitted nearly double the amount of Pokémon that you did last time. I was sure that there would be a few that would be hard to elevate, but thanks to your divine taste, I found myself embarrassed for choice at each and every turn. This, of course, is also due to another factor. The Pokémon trading card game has long since employed many talented artists, whose names are easy to miss but have always been printed somewhere on every card, so I want to ensure I include them today as well. We spent the last video spotlighting these names, and I do want to call attention to them again here, but today I want to spend our time talking about the people who designed the creatures themselves. Sometimes the card illustrations are supplied by the Pokémon designers. Ken Sugimori's art style is undeniable, the text by which every design is compared to thereafter. And while he has had the last word by way of official art for many Pokémon since, even he has only designed so many of them. He offers these insights thanks to this translated section from the Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon Essential Setting book. The technique I often use when finishing up designs for Pokémon is to keep the balance. I might try adding something uncool to a Pokémon that is too cool, or I might add something cheerful to a Pokémon that is too serious. What I actually do is take something cool and make it less cool. I often tell members in charge of design to take away from designs that are too cool, but that is probably a sentiment that is difficult to grasp. What's cool and what's not is all subjective in the end. To put it extremely, my job is to get something that would look cooler if it didn't have this or that on it, and then put it on purpose. It's hard to hear that and not have so many of my lifelong questions about Pokémon design answered. It's an admittance to a comically subversive truth. We've now heard it from the mouth of God. They look kinda stupid because they're supposed to look kinda stupid. Even with that said, I don't want to deify Sugimori too much. Pokémon's cohesive aesthetic and design philosophy is thanks to the contribution of countless people. He says as much himself in this interview from the year 2000. I wasn't the only person creating Pokémon. There were 5 or 6 other designers working on them too. As you can imagine, each designer had a certain style or type of Pokémon that was their specialty. One of them was great at making cute Pokémon, another was all about the weird Pokémon, and so forth. So no, we didn't intentionally set out to make a certain variety, but just by mixing all of our styles, we were able to achieve a natural balance. I don't think that would have been possible if I had tried to design them all myself. And while it is true that Pokémon is the end result of many contributors, none can be called its creator quite like Satoshi Tajiri. I'm sure if you've made it to this video, you know how a childhood of bug collecting inspired Tajiri's creation of Pokémon, but the idea extends beyond just that. He said this to Shigeru Miyamoto, creator of Mario: "I want this game to surpass Mario. I don't mean in terms of novelty, of being new or old. I want to create a game with universal appeal, something that will stand the tests of time and be remembered in history." Can you imagine the Nards to be so completely correct, to have confidence and hope in your own vision? A vision that extends beyond just one novel idea, by the way, being informed as much by a love for biodiversity as it is a desire to make connections. I'm now relying on a Kotaku article translating a now offline YouTube stream to find this quote from Tajiri about yearning for an RPG where you can trade equipment with other players. "As soon as I saw the Game Boy's link cable capabilities, I thought, oh, that's it! With this cable, you can exchange hats." While obviously not being the final idea, this hat trading idea would in some ways predict the feverish appeal of personal cosmetics that you see in modern games. Though I'm glad that they settled on players trading creatures instead of head covers. This idea of personal taste did inform how the designers at Game Freak would create these initial designs, opting for creatures that appealed to them specifically, hoping to create a wide mix that would inspire a desire in players to collect and trade. An interview with James Turner, the first Pokémon designer from the Western world, describes having to create designs off the cuff as part of the interview process. "I think this speaks to a controlled and carefree approach to monster design. I hesitate to use the word disposable, but it seems that a confident flippancy is a spice necessary to creating an appealing pocket monster." He expresses that another part of the appeal is that you can tell with a certain eye which artist designed which Pokémon, that each artistic voice shines through, the slight variations in style being a key ingredient, and yet even he struggles to name the ineffable core appeal that must be met. That universal quality that separates a concept from a capital P Pokémon. When asked to define this, or at least name the key words of the broad design rules, Turner says that first you should be able to feel like you could be friends with every Pokémon, that they can't just be intimidating, they can't just be scary. There has to be something there that makes you think, oh, I could be friends with this Pokémon. This is such a kind but almost completely inscrutable sentiment. It is, of course, true. They wouldn't be scrolling by right now in such a heartfelt, if not comical fashion if it weren't, but I'm not sure if that helps me come any closer to defining the rigid borders of Pokémon's secret sauce, which likely is the point. It isn't just branding, though I won't underplay its role in this whole affair, but I think what I'm coming to learn is that my instincts were partially right. The appeal is that they are heartfelt and loved from inception. I once fancied myself an illustrator, and I know the difference between the doodles that I feel a genuine connection with and the ones that I don't. I feel like I've just begun to scratch the surface. There's so much left to learn about the whys of Pokémon design. I'm kicking myself for not having already discovered the few quotes that I've read to you today. I always source my videos. If you check the description box, I have links to everything that I've referenced today. I really want to thank the people who have translated these early Japanese interviews. I don't want their work to be overshadowed. Learning what goes on behind the scenes at the Monster Factory paired with your anecdotes, I have evidence that of the 1,000 plus existing Pokémon, 140 of them have at least one person who's completely sold on their premise. We have a little more data now in this second video. Your favorites weren't quite the generation-spanning scattershot that I thought them to be, though given my analytics, it makes sense that your picks would start to skew older. That being said, there was a surprising amount of overlap in your favorites. Reuniclus is also a favorite of mine and clearly yours as well, being submitted more than any other Pokémon. That being said, I do remain surprised by many of your choices, though now with a different perspective, you've helped me see their appeal. When the new batch inevitably arrives in the next few years, I wonder if I won't have a bit more of an open mind than I did with the batch introduced in Scarlet and Violet. I think by preoccupying myself with delineating between good and bad designs, I've stopped myself from seeing the more universal intent of this massive bestiary. As before, I want to make sure that I include at least one illustration per each of your picks. It's the least I can do to repay you for your engagement. I'm actually pleased that a few of you went ahead and listed mini Pokémon as your favorite Pokémon. I'm honored, and I get it, and I'll keep talking until everyone's had to look at each of them. This does, however, make me want to conduct an experiment. I don't want to diminish your engagement. 140 total Pokémon submitted is more than I would have ever expected, but it's a number that's just high enough that it makes a fella wonder. If my watch trends are correct, about half of you watching are new to this channel, so first and foremost, I'm glad to see you've made it here. I'll politely point to the subscribe button and then wink at the like button, pat you on the back, and again lay my self-serving trap and ask that you let me know in the comment section who your favorite Pokémon is. I'm keeping a master list myself, so no need to worry if yours is a repeat. I'm sure you won't begrudge me, but if your favorite was featured in the previous video, I didn't find art for it here. This has been a complete treat. Like the chest compressions of yearly releases that keep Pokémon's heart beating, so too are little videos like this. So I say keep them coming. Know that I really do love it when you info dump about your reasonings. I want to keep setting the tone here. I want it to continue to be one of appreciation and gratitude, but I also want to set my ambitions a bit higher. I've never really asked for you all to share my videos before, but it seems I'm due to muster up some humility if I want to be bold enough to expect to continue to grow. So if you have somebody you know that has some off-the-wall quirky favorite, you should send these videos their way. Why don't you go ahead and tell them about old Snooze Malone? Reblog me on Tumblr. I straight up cannot rely on the fickle whims of algorithmic recommendations alone, especially if I'm to take the time I need to between the release of long-form videos. And while I have ideas for other shorties that I'd like to put together between big essays, it would be a boon to have something like this that I could always rely on making, and a consistent way to keep thanking you for your support. If I get enough new entries, I'd be thrilled to put another one of these together. I can always come up with new Pokémon topics to research. And I have enough delirious self-assuredness that I really think someday we genuinely might be able to create a full, complete Living-Dex of a full PowerPoint of gorgeous art for every Pokémon. Wouldn't that be a dream? In the meantime, and on that note, I turn to Light Guy 142's important question. Is there anyone out there that treasures Wormadam? Does anyone love this bug? Take care, gang.